Hey, my name's Ben Smith, and today on Ever Forward Radio, Chase and I talk a little bit about my experience in the military, his transition, and how mental health is not just a soldier's problem.
3, 2, 1.
What's good, man?
Run it. Dude, how you been?
Better now.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It's good to be here. I'm excited about this.
Haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, dude, it's been a crazy last couple months. I think
No
the last
doubt.
time you stopped by the gym
Yeah, and
a
then
few months ago.
the last time I stopped by the gym, you weren't even there, and then I got the horrible news that, oh no, we're not open.
We're closed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been tough for indoor gyms the last couple months, but you adapt and overcome.
That's all we can do, man.
That's right.
That's all we can do. That's what Uncle Sam taught us to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, even outside of the military context, you get all these opportunities to do pretty cool stuff and challenge yourself. And so, like for me and even for you doing, what you do, you're talking about your last little gig going down down to Dallas. It's like you get this really cool opportunity to try something new or test yourself or challenge yourself. And, luckily we both come out on top every once in a while.
Yeah, we come out on top every once in a while.
Yeah.
Definitely got some downs and in-betweens along the way, man. But let's start at the beginning.
Send it.
So, all right, this will be like a drinking game. How many times during this podcast do we revert to military sayings?
I don't know. It's almost like I was at FSO at one point.
So it's been you were one of the first people I met. My first friends in LA.
Same.
Like right when we moved, similar times. Like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
ish.
It was like.
I remember we met up in person
at the very end of 2019.
Yeah,
no,
18. Yeah.
My God,
yeah, and like that was such like a transformational period, like in my life in so many ways. And then getting to know you more over the last couple of years, I know now how much of a transformational period that was for you.
Totally.
And like another mutual friend of ours, shout out Caleb. Like I feel like the three of us, we all came here around the same time. And we didn't know what we were looking for, maybe, but we knew we were looking for something. And then, like, we found each other.
This is a theme in my life. It's funny. Caleb first. Well, actually, Logan, my now boss and roommate, former roommate. I just moved today.
That's
which
right.
Is wild.
Moving on up.
Yeah. Not moving out of LA. I'm staying in Venice. But I do this thing where I like reach out to people that like. Maybe I don't know why I'm reaching out. I just feel compelled. Like there's something there. I just feel compelled to reach out. And so like with Logan, there was this like several year DM back and forth. And I'm like, dude, I don't know why I continue to message you, but like I don't know if it's a hug or like a cup of coffee or a job. I don't know what I need from you. But I feel compelled to reach out. Same thing with Caleb. We like had this internet friendship and I was like, dude, you continue to post things on your social media that it's almost like you're taking the words that are in my head and like vocalizing it for me, which is,
he's good with his words.
He's great with his words.
Yeah.
And it was something where I was like, look, I don't know you, you don't know me, but like I just feel compelled to like be there for you and maybe like you'll be there for me in return. We end up living together. And then the same thing with you. You posted a thing on, it's funny how social media is like
it's so weird.
The impetus for all these things. But
I think I was doing a coaching mentorship launch.
You said, you posted a thing and you said, yo, I've got a couple free hours today.
That's right, yeah.
I'm a vet. If you're a vet and you want to like chat about stuff, like let's chat about stuff.
Just keep open office hours, yeah.
We did like a Zoom call and I was like, oh shit, you're in LA. I'm also in LA. I have 0 friends. Like my roommate Caleb is my friend. I'm like generally miserable in my life and like unbeknownst to you, there was like other shit going on at that like literally I was in the heat of a insane depression and some weird other stuff and you're like, yeah, let's just grab coffee. And so we like had coffee, and I remember downtown at that.
Was it Ardent? No, that hotel.
It was at your workspace, wherever you used to work. That hotel you used to work.
Yeah.
And I like walked from work to come meet you, and now we've been friends for like 2 years. It's wild.
It's wild, man. What a wild 2 years it's been, of like journeys of professionalism, of the personal self.
Totally.
And I'll never forget, man. Like when you sat down among like. We talked about a lot of things, but it was very, very clear from the beginning. You had a mission, and the mission was no small feat to change the world.
I probably said that too.
100%. Yeah, I remember that distinctly.
That used to be what anyone would be like, what are you trying to do? I'm like, I'm going to like change the world.
But through what lens specifically? I know you have a pretty clear mission.
Well, yeah. So
now.
then it was through physical fitness. I think it's like people say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you take like the short range target first, and it's like I had the opportunity to like promote the thing that I was most passionate about through physical health and well-being. And like we've had a podcast in the past talking about that. And how important it is, to prioritize your physical well-being. But I think, given the last year and some opportunities that I've had, and I have this incredible platform to talk about the mental side of things and the emotional side of holistic health and well-being. And, you can't have one without the other. So it's like a physical,
absolutely,
physical part, emotional part, and then also this mental health thing. And I think now, I'm incredibly lucky to sit here on this couch with you, but I'm incredibly lucky for the experiences that I've had, and now having an opportunity to talk about my own life and use anecdotal evidence or anecdotal stories to share about how, like, we're not alone and we're navigating this thing. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everyone's having their own individual experience, but we're so much more alike. True. We're so much more alike than we ever could imagine,
And you've been pushing hard with like big focus of yours, and don't let me put words in your mouth here, but like mental health, kind of like this forgotten component of our wellness. And I mean, what you do in the physical training for other people and yourself is, like, I always say, that's been like, fitness is a gateway drug to becoming like the version of yourself you never know is possible. Yeah. And it's through those experiences physically that it kind of shines a light on so many other areas of your life that we neglect, or we know is there, or we just don't even realize. And that's like the mental health aspect. And you and I come from similar backgrounds of active duty Army. And in that world, I'm curious what your experience was here. In that world, like, mental health was not something you talked about. It was something that, like, it can prevent you from getting a promotion. There can be a stigma. There can be a lot of things.
Yeah, I think all those things are unsaid too. It's like no one is out there. Yeah, no one's out there being like, yo, you can't do this. Like, you can't talk about how you're feeling, or you can't go to somebody for help. But like, without saying it, there's just like a general feeling that like maybe it'll be a bad thing if I go talk to somebody about how I'm feeling.
It's like, we don't go down that hallway in the hospital.
Yeah. Or like, and unfortunately, that's just a function of the system, and no longer being a part of it. I think I can like maybe talk a little more freely about my experience, and maybe even yours. Like you said, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but my biggest struggles it was twofold. I held a position where like I was looked up to, and so in the eyes of soldiers or former soldiers, I'm like, I can't be weak. I can't be the one that's tired, hungry, sad, or cold, or whatever. Like, I have to,
because all my guys are.
Because they are. Yeah. And as soon as I let them know that I'm struggling also, then we're fucked, for lack of a better term. And then the other side was that I just like didn't understand the wealth of resources that were available to me.
So true.
And like, whether you want to like acknowledge it or not, there's so much help out there. You just have to seek it. And so I was walking this weird line where I'm like, oh my God, I'm like going through a thing that I don't know how to handle myself, and I don't want to burden anybody else. I don't want to look bad in the eyes of my soldiers, my peers, my superiors. What do I do? And if you like don't know the story,
what's the story?
Yeah, so there's several pieces to this, but it all culminated. I got out of the Army in the summer of 2018. I left this career that I thought I might spend my entire life in. I had hopes of doing really great things in the military, but then at a certain point I just realized, like, maybe this isn't for me. There were a couple.
You did 8 years active?
So
7?
Six.
Okay, yeah. Same.
Yeah. So I went to 4 years of school. I graduated from West Point. I commissioned as an officer. I do all the jobs that I want to do. My mentor, Tom Kennedy, he's an artillery officer. I get to like do that job. I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. I get to interact with soldiers, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I could not care less about like the awards or the badges or the tabs or the whatever. I care more than anything about the soldier. As a junior officer, you get this incredible opportunity to impact soldiers every day. And so I was very lucky and like happened to be okay at my job. And so I got to like kind of cherry pick what I wanted to do. Yeah. And so I was in direct command of soldiers for like my entire first 4 years. Like if you follow along, like platoon leadership, fire support officer roles, more platoon leadership roles.
Like you go from a few guys to a group of guys,
Yeah.
Guys, girls, like to
Well,
like tens, hundreds of people sometimes.
Yeah. And so for me, there came this point where I was like, okay, I'm progressing in rank, I'm progressing in my responsibility, but I'm also like getting farther and farther away from the individual soldier. And so like just like
from your initial mission.
Right. Well, yeah, like having direct impact on humans. And just like with any organization, I think any corporate structured thing, as you grow in rank and your reach becomes larger and larger, you can't look at the soldier individually any longer. You have to like delegate and be like the point of a larger pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it just like that wasn't what I wanted to be a part of. I didn't want to be behind a desk. I didn't want to like be the one that was like managing the things. Like I mean,
and be detached in a way.
Yeah, I didn't want to be. I wanted to be like there in the weeds with everybody like doing the thing. And so it was like a nice easy break. I like was like, okay, this is like how it should go. I can go because I'm like competent here in this life. I can go and like do very well in the civilian world. And I was like looking at my friends or former peers or whoever had left the service, and I was like, oh, that transition's like really easy. Like it's gonna be great. I'm gonna like just be like, yo,
last words, right?
I was like gonna go apply for a job and be like, look, here's my application. This is all the cool things I did in the military, and like, why wouldn't you hire me? Like that would be silly for you not to do that. And I realized very quickly that it wasn't the case. Nobody really cared about anything that I had done. They saw
or didn't understand it.
Didn't understand the things that I had been a part of, or the organizations I'd served alongside, and didn't value the intangible skills that I was bringing forward. They also maybe, and like I don't know, this is like my
it's all your
perception,
interpretation.
but like maybe like saw my service as a detriment in some capacity. Like I don't know if you ever felt that way. It's like I have this kid who's just coming out of school. He's 26 or he's 22, and Ben's like 28. Like, why wouldn't we take the young kid that we can groom and make him into the thing that we want? And whether or not that's the case, I'm not sure. But like, it worked out where I was like, oh my God, this experience is so much more challenging than I ever thought. I moved across the country, left a relationship that I'd been in for a long time, didn't have a job, ended up taking a job that like I probably shouldn't have been in.
I remember that's
like that was
when
the job
we met. I think you
it was like a business development
just
role.
gotten rolling in that.
It just like wasn't for me. Like I wasn't meant to be. It's funny. I talk about the only thing I learned in school was like how to survive a crowded room. It's like you walk into a room, I'll make a bunch of friends. Like I'll sell you a thing, but like I didn't have any like. There's no passion. I didn't care about it. Like didn't
connection.
I didn't have anybody to impact. Like it was all about like the bottom line or like, and like the people who like really cared about it would tell you something different. They're like, oh my God, no, it was about like bringing digital marketing services to this person's business so they can like live their dream. And like, that's incredible that they felt that way. But like, I surely didn't.
That's not you.
Yeah. And I was like, look, I'm missing something. And so I ended up leaving. Caleb could tell you it was just a disaster. I ended up leaving. I like saved no money when I left the Army because I'm an idiot.
Like every young, dumb soldier. In that bucket, man.
So I was like, oh no, this will be fine. I live in Santa Monica, like 4 blocks from the water. I can totally afford this. Like, this will be really great. I was like out of money. I'll like bring this all back around. Like most of my teens and into my 20s, I like struggled with an eating disorder. I was anorexic for a portion of my late teens, and then joined the Army, and I felt so out of control. Although my entire life was controlled, I felt out of control. And for me, the only way that I could like truly have control, or like, and this is like, if you've never struggled with an eating disorder, or you like don't have this experience, it may sound crazy, but for me, the control of like binge eating was what I needed to like be centered. It was a very weird thing.
Is that what you mean by, you just said my life was controlled, but I was out of control?
I was totally out of control. I felt like I had no say in anything that was going on in my life. And so maybe that makes sense. My life was controlled, but like
I get it. I know.
I was not in control of my own life. And so I felt this incredible need to binge eat. And like some people liken it to alcoholism, but like you drink yourself into some sort of stupor. I would eat myself into some sort of stupor. And then I found out that you could like purge. And so you binge and
like,
purge.
Quote, undo it, but
then also have even greater control. And so there was like this wild thing where I was like, oh no, I'm the like narrator here. I'm the author of this story. I get to like binge eat myself into like a stupor and like not deal with my problems or the way that I'm feeling, and then also have absolute control and then purge the thing. It was like a very.
Did this carry on through the military?
Oh yeah, for like my entire 20s, like all the time I was in the Army. Unbelievable to me that I was able to like handle that and also the stressors of like the job itself.
That's impressive.
Yeah, there were instances. I mean, of course, there are instances where I was like not in the middle of a bulimic episode, like deployments and stuff like that, where like there were other things that took priority. But in moments where I felt like I wasn't able to like exert full control over how my life was going, or like I didn't have a thing that was and I talked about short range targets earlier, but if I didn't have a thing that was right in front of my face, I would make things.
You would insert something there.
I would like make it. I would make bulimia be the thing. It's like that was the short range target. That was the thing I needed to like navigate. But anyway, so I'm like leaving the Army. I'm losing it in terms of like I don't have any money to afford the place that I live in. I don't have a job. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do because I was this like high performing individual that's like supposed to like be on top of his game, and like
these eating disorders are probably coming back, resurfacing.
So I thought I was done with it, and in moments of high stress, unbeknownst to me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm now binge eating all the time, and it turns into this thing where I like thought I was done with it. I wasn't done with it, and there was just like a combination of all these factors. And so I ended up like trying to take my own life. The first time it like you mix a cocktail of drugs and alcohol.
Can we pause right there actually real quick? Because that was like shortly after we had just met.
Right before.
Or is January?
The first one. So I had October of 2018.
Okay.
I tried and was like, this is insane, Ben, or this is silly, Ben.
Wow.
Don't do this. Wow. And so I was able to like
got ahead of that one.
Get ahead of it.
Okay.
There was a second instance in January of the next year. So like just after we had met.
Wow.
Where I like. It was a holiday. It was like the holidays. I like didn't feel. I didn't feel like accepted in my family structure. I didn't feel accepted in the life I was living here. Like I said, I just left a relationship. There was definitely factors of that there. Professional fulfillment is like a big deal for me. So like I didn't have a profession or a job or anything, and so I was like I was like literally days from quitting the that digital marketing job, and I just in a moment of weakness thought that it was appropriate to just like not be around anymore. And so I can like talk freely about it now, which is like I keep saying weird. I use the words like weird and insane interchangeably. I don't mean that it's insane, but
at the time it does feel like that.
I thought that I was insane. But I did a drastic thing because I was like, nothing's working. It's like, maybe this is the answer. It's definitely not the answer. And so like, now I have this platform. I went on like a TV dating show, and
we'll get there.
Yeah, I share that entire story, and I don't know what's seen and what's not seen. I mean, I do because I watched the show, but what's seen on the show is me sharing snippets of that story. But there's so many factors at play there. It was like, and it goes into like my early childhood development and like my time as an adolescent, and then like going into the military, and there's all these factors at play. But so basically, I like in a moment of weakness, I like didn't think that I should be around anymore, and the major takeaway was I wasn't able to share my feelings, or I wasn't able to share that story, or the people that I was seeking out to share the things that I needed to share in order to feel better or like receive help. I didn't do any of that.
So not to say that they didn't exist, you just didn't act on them.
I didn't act. Well, I mean, I didn't share the right things with the right people at the right times.
Yeah.
But you initially asked me about mental health, and I think like now I have this incredible opportunity to bring light to a thing that's like maybe been swept under the rug.
Or is kept in the dark.
Totally. And I know there's people just like me.
Yeah. There are, man. And I'll share some personal experiences with you. Anytime we can connect as human beings, but also, in this experience, I hopefully, want to make you feel more comfortable and like let you in on my side of things too. So I go back to that time when we met, and then to think, just maybe like a month or two later, tops, maybe, like you were going through that. And I know now that you were going through it then when we met as well.
Yeah.
And so it's just wild to think, like the things people go through that we have no idea.
Totally.
Those closest to us, new relationships, whatever. two of my closest male friends that I had in the Army both committed suicide.
Yeah.
Both took their own life. Both, guns to the head. And I go back to, and they did it after they got out.
Yeah.
And I go back to like phone calls I had with them. The one guy, like my really close friend, the week before, and I'll never forget. He was kind of like he would drink himself into a stupor. He would do all this kind of dumb shit, but I didn't really think anything of it. Like his girlfriend was a mutual friend of ours. I was like, no, he's in good hands. It's fine.
Yeah.
And he would just say certain things, and I'm like, no, like dude, like it's fine. Like I gotta go.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, the next week I get a phone call from his girlfriend. It's like, hey, Dice took his own life, man. And so it's just, you never know what people are going through, even those closest around.
Totally.
And it's the lengths to which we will go through to put up that wall. And then me personally, like the whole reason like I'm here, like I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I never got to the point to where I'll never say I was considering actively taking my life, but I was actively putting myself in harm's way, on the path to harm's way.
Yeah.
The whole reason I got out of the Army was an injury because I was trying to get deployed because I just didn't want to live anymore, going through my own demons.
Yeah.
And like,
and it's not always service connected too. Like I think I need to be like very clear about this.
Sure,
like, these are issues that like people, not just soldiers, but
every
this is, like,
human
this
being
transcends
goes
any
through.
demographic, any race, religion.
Yeah.
Like
Mine, for me, it was the loss of my father.
Yeah.
And so, like I was serving in the military during a time of war, but like it was a father and a son. It was a death in the family. Like so many people go through that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it is so much more common, I think, than people realize or even want to admit. But I'm glad you are admitting it, and I'm glad you are like saying these things, not only for your own sake and health and wellness, but like being able to be a model now for other people, men, women, service members alike, to like get in front of this thing.
I hate the saying, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. I hate that. I hate that saying a lot, but because I think it like leaves a lot of things unsaid or unaddressed. But if you like go through a trying time or trying experience, like I said at the very beginning, we're all much more alike than we are different, or we're all more alike than we could ever imagine. If you go through a trying experience or something that's like challenged you to your core, like you owe it to not only yourself to like talk about those things openly, but also like think about all the people who are in the shoes that you were in then.
Yeah.
Like you talked about your buddy crying you or calling you in a drunken stupor. Like that's his effort at like maybe a cry for help or like a, hey Chase, see me.
Yeah, it was.
Mine came in the form of like, hey Chase, like I'd love to get coffee with you. And like,
damn, dude.
in the moment, I don't know if that's what I'm thinking. I'm probably not, but like subconsciously,
like who knows?
Subconsciously, dude, like, and it's funny now, and like I'm just having this realization now, but it's like, going out and like seeing a new person or like connecting with somebody. You talk about connection, connecting with somebody was enough for me to like, for the moment, like feel seen and heard, and that's all we're like looking for.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, so I love the way things are trending in terms of like awareness around veteran mental health specifically. I'm not in the service anymore, so I don't know what's happening inside. I don't know how it's being perceived by the soldier or the junior officer or even the senior leader. I like don't know what that looks like, but I know for sure, and like it's my mission now. Like, but for sure, the people that have served and successfully left the military are going to have options.
Yeah.
And they are readily available and they're open, and we've got people standing by.
Absolutely, man.
Which is like really, really cool, because I think what I didn't even realize was there are so many more men and women who are, like I said, looking back on their experience and seeing me in their shoes, and they're like, oh my God. Like I didn't even realize that these things existed, but like now I'm like, holy shit, there's these people who are 20 years older than me who are like went through the same experience, and they've already set up the frameworks, and now we can like really push and promote this thing, and it's okay to not be okay, and that's like
seriously,
that's the truth.
Yeah. Do you think I was talking to somebody else recently, another veteran, about just the whole concept of transition and identity. And I'm curious your take on this, man. So we go through so much when we're getting ready to go in, right?
Yeah.
You, as an officer, as enlisted, basic training, ROTC, West Point, whatever, you go through weeks, months, years of training. to transition out of one identity, a civilian, a human being, whoever, a kid, a young adult, into a military service member, soldier, sailor, airman, Marine. But then on our way out, at least for me, it was a couple of days of go to these seminars and check this box before you PCS.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that is where we are leaving the biggest hole in the lack of transition support, where maybe this kind of identity and mental health concept, this struggle, like, I won't say begins, but really kind of peaks?
Well, I think that like transition is an incredible impetus for like instability, or for like just inherently, like everything's everything's in a state of flux. You're probably moving somewhere else. The relationships that you held are like probably deteriorating. Like your family structure might be changing. I don't know, you know. I think that aid, like I keep saying, aid is available to you. And so like I hesitate to say like, you know, we could do better. We obviously could do better. Like that's like the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But I think that just like with anything, it's on the soldier, it's on the service member to like be active in their pursuit of assistance, of aid, of all of the stuff. Do I think avenues to pursue those things could be more seamless? For sure.
You mean in the terms of like personal responsibility?
I think
like take more
in personal responsibility, yes, but
Okay.
I think the avenues provided by the Department of Defense or whoever it is.
Yeah,
I'm not going to call out the Department of Defense, but like in terms of transition assistance or like whatever it looks like, I think that maybe like the way that it's presented could be more user friendly.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. I'm not going to sit and let shit happen to me. And I say that, and it's funny because I sat and let shit happen to me in the past. And that's why I ended up in the situation that I ended up in. But
I think all of us do.
But I think you'd be doing yourself and your future self a disservice to not be more active in your transition if you're currently transitioning. Like take every available opportunity to you to like seek out whether it's job opportunities, you know,
mentorships,
for sure. The career skills program was the best thing that I ever did. I was able to leave them. It's a program that was just beginning when I left a couple years ago, but it's like you get to do an internship.
That's right.
In a career that you may be interested in pursuing.
Almost like while you're on a permissive TDY or like
it's a permissive TDY
that's right,
thing.
Yeah.
But the best part about it is like you don't have to pursue that thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to pursue that job. You can like go see if you're interested, and then if you're not, you can be like, oh my God, I'm not interested. I'd love to go do something else.
But I explored something new and different.
Totally.
And it showed me what else there could be.
I think back to your earlier point about like creating this new identity, I still don't know who I am. You know, and I'm several years removed. And like I like that I'm like now as a 30-year-old man just growing into this person. It's not tainted by my experience in the Army. It's not tainted by my experience as a child. I'm like an adult, the most evolved adult that I've ever been. And now I get to like create the life and the person that I want to be. And I think I owe a great deal of it to therapy. I owe a great deal of it to my experience. I also owe a great deal of like it to like the failures, like my experience.
True, yeah.
The bad shit has like really shaped who I am or the things that I want to do. And like if you'd asked me 10 years ago, Ben, do you think that your like goal will be to like talk about mental health and suicide and like transitioning soldiers and how they can make their lives better? Be like, I don't think that that's it. I think I want to like make a lot of money and have like a lot of nice cars.
That's what we all say at 20. Yeah, for sure.
And like now,
most of us maybe.
Now I'm like, I don't need to do anything. I just want to help one person. And if I help one, then I win. And we both win, and then we can like go do.
We can just copy and paste.
We can do great things. So I also do this thing where I go on tangents all over the place. So you talked about transition. To bring it back all the way, to take it all the way back to what I said initially, I never once thought I'd be a statistic. I never once thought that I would struggle because I had rarely struggled ever at a thing that I had put my mind to.
In the military, we have the support system to not need to struggle.
If I can't do it, my friend can. And he'll do it better than I ever could. And it's like, okay. When you're on your own, it's like really tough. And then you add in a whole bunch of other factors. You add in the fact that you like don't feel the same. Like you don't feel the same when you're not in uniform. Like it's different. It's a different thing.
It's weird.
But yeah, so I now have this opportunity to talk about it. And if like just bringing awareness is all that this is, and then like
Yeah.
that's great. I will mention at the end or like now or whenever, there's a couple organizations that are really incredible. To reach out to. My favorite is this one called Headstrong.
Yeah.
A dear friend of mine used to work pretty intimately with them. They provide real dollars, real contributions to veteran mental health resources. So like
real live resources.
The money goes right into therapy, and they service over 1,000 service members, former service members a day, and that might seem like a small number, but it's like 1,000 more than wouldn't be.
Yeah. It's better than the 22 alternative, right?
Yeah, and like that's such a stressful thing to think about. That's such like people are like 22, yeah, like 22 service members a day commit suicide, or former service members, and like it's just like unbelievable. It's unbelievable that's the reality. It's unbelievable to me that we like haven't done more. But I hesitate to say that because like people are just doing the best that they can.
Truly.
And so there are good people out there trying to work really hard to like render aid or give assistance to those people who need it.
What have been some of the favorite aids that you have experienced other than you said Headstrong, right?
Headstrong's great. Vets for Warriors is another organization.
Organizations and like practices of yours.
Practices. Okay, so seeking out a therapist that you jive with is probably the single most important thing I've done for myself and my own personal development is finding a therapist who understands me and I understand the direction of where we're trying to go.
That's a key concept.
I think that people far too often do this thing where they're just looking to check the block. And so it's not the therapy itself that like changes you. It's how you act the other however many hours are left in the month that you don't see your therapist.
Or it's like, what do they say? The personal trainer analogy. It's like, I can do a lot with you in that hour, but what about the other 23?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. There's several, and I can talk about therapy for a minute, but there's several different options for you. There's like cognitive behavioral therapy, like more of a talk therapy type thing. There's somatic healing work, which is what I do, where you get like into your body and you feel through experiences that you've had in your past or things that you may be afraid of in the future. I do some work called inner child healing, where like no fault of anyone's. I like was raised in a home where like I maybe didn't feel the love and affection that I should feel as a child, and so my parents are wonderful. It's just like I had a perception, or I internalized things from that experience that have shaped me into the person that I am, and so we do a lot of work where I am my younger self and I'm reparenting that young boy into somebody who's strong and competent and confident. And I think far too often, and like maybe it's just a function of like everything happens for a reason, or
everything happens and we put reason to it. I believe
everything tends to work out the way that you think it should, or that it should. But I think maybe I hid behind the rank structure in the Army. It gave me this confidence that I didn't inherently have.
You feel like? Are you saying maybe like sometimes authority rank is given versus earned?
I'm saying that I was not a confident child.
Gotcha.
I was not sure of myself. I didn't talk about not having an identity. Leaving my childhood home, I didn't have an identity. I was my family's son. I wasn't Ben. I was built by others, and I guess every child goes through something similar. But like I didn't have an identity, so the Army took that and was like, okay, we'll just make him this thing. And so I was.
Are you the oldest, by the way?
I am.
Yeah.
I was a
lieutenant.
On that, yeah. I was a lieutenant. I was a captain. I was a position. I was a job. I was a this. I was that. I had authority due to my rank and position. I also was able to grow into like.
But it was that position. It wasn't like this is Ben.
I found strength in the position. I was still an insecure, just small person. I just didn't have. I'm trying to like find the word. I didn't have belief in myself, or and I had done like hard things. I had seen challenging experiences and had like navigated them successfully. But I think I like really hid behind like the uniform I wore and the position and the rank and all these things. But my therapy, the work I'm doing specifically, even right now, my therapist, her name's Sarah Baldwin. She's in Beverly Hills.
Shout out Sarah.
She's unbelievable. And she now works with like several of my close friends, and they like get to experience the work that I'm doing with her.
Very cool.
But
so I'm hearing a variety of things, a variety of modalities, a variety of people. I'm hearing personal work, inner work. I'm hearing one-on-one. I'm hearing group, community. It sounds like pretty widespread.
Yeah, and I think it's like user dependent, right? Like you have
to. Yeah.
We all have like different love languages, or we all have different learning styles, or we all have different. Like we all like different condiments on our French fries. Like everybody's experience is different, and so you have to find the thing that works best for you. Like if we trained the exact same way, I would have an experience and I would look and feel a certain way, and you would have an experience. It might be similar. It might also be different.
We have trained the same way. I don't look like you.
Well,
I look like me.
Right. You are you. And that's,
I am me,
and that's
right?
beautiful.
Yeah.
I think there's a really cool thing where, like, in the same way that I talked about the career skills program, it's like you get to try a thing, and if you don't like it, you move on. So I know people who do really well with talk therapy.
Yeah.
They love to just express themselves for an hour with that therapist, and who knows what happens outside of it. I do a lot of homework with mine, and I like in the same way that like I'm pretty active in my like, even with my transition, I'm pretty active in what I do. I'm not gonna sit back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I work really hard at what I do. I was not happy with the person that I used to be, and so like I'm gonna take every active step.
Do you have that kind of approach to when you're seeking out things of like,
now,
I'm just gonna see what works, see what doesn't, kind of thing, or do you have
I'll
some
try
kind
it.
of
I'll try it. I do a thing where I like, my time is limited and valuable, and so like I've worked myself into a position where like I have many hats and I like do a lot of stuff, and my days are very full, and so sometimes it's hard for me to like seek out new experiences, for lack of a better term. But I find people that I trust, or people that are having success with a thing, and if they're somebody that I'm gonna pause and tell you a thing.
All right.
So I think it's
an exclusive.
I think it's a Brene Brown trick.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. You take like an index card or like a small piece of paper and rip it up and make it really small. And I think it's just small makes it like you get to see this thing. But you pick like 8 to 10 names, and you get to write down 8 to 10 people that like their opinion really matters to you.
Okay.
Or like what they do or how they see what you do really matters to you.
Okay.
And you can say all day, I don't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't care what you think. I don't care what my mom thinks, my dad thinks. I don't care what anybody thinks. That's bullshit. You care what people think, and you should, because ultimately you get to impact people. And we have put like this negative twist on it where it's like I don't care what people think about me because I'm complete in myself and I'm whole. Bullshit. You should care, and you should do right by those people by being the best version of yourself.
Well said.
It doesn't mean like put a mask on and be fake and like no. Be incredible so you impact people in the way that only the incredible version of you could.
Nice.
And so what I do is I write down a couple names on this paper, and these are people that like I really value their opinion, and they keep me in line and they keep me in check to be that most authentic version of Ben.
Beautiful, yeah.
And so from that list of people, a lot of them are older, a lot of them are mentors. Logan is my roommate. He's on that list. He's at the top of that list. He's the guy that I reached out on social media to, and we had that conversation, and I was like, oh my God, I need to meet you.
Shit.
Do I need coffee or whatever?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That guy, my boss, one of my bosses.
Look at you, man. Like, also, like, look at all the steps, the things that you put into place and how they have come to fruition.
Yeah. But so what I do is I look at that list, and I'm like, what cool things are these people doing that I'm not doing? And that's how I seek out, like, if it's a new therapy.
Yeah, not in a comparison
mode,
but just like, what can I learn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, they're doing this new therapy. Or, oh my God, they tried this new steakhouse. Or, oh my God, they like to meditate. I should probably meditate. They read books all the time. I should probably read books all the time. What books are they reading? You know?
When it comes to healing, when it comes to our journey, that's actually, I do something similar. Yeah, I don't shred up paper, but
I just make a little tiny. It's better.
It's like a tangible thing for sure. But when we look at our own selves, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, when we reflect on our lives of who we are, how far we've come, shortcomings, where we want to go. It's very, I think it makes sense. It's very logical to look at people that we admire, that we have in our life, or even people that, we just see on TV or something.
Yeah.
But we have some kind of resonance. And I mean, which to your point, I think is one of the best ways to think about, like, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. Well, you should, because if you're living and acting out of your highest self, that is going to resonate with another person that you're going to be able to impact.
You should care deeply. You just shouldn't let it drive you in a path that takes you away from the most authentic version of yourself. Sometimes you'll need to be checked.
Yeah.
Like myself, mostly. Like,
that's why I got a Persian wife, man. They'll always check you. It's great.
yeah, but like, and that's a really great thing.
Yeah.
Like I see the way that you are together. It's like synergy. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It equals a billion. Like it's
infinite.
Yeah. It's this like incredible thing. And like, this doesn't need to turn into like a relationship talk, but like, I hope someday to find like that type of thing
100%
with a partner that's able to push me to be the best version of myself. And I in turn get to like do that for them.
There's nothing more amazing when two individuals can continue their rise to their fullest potential together.
Yeah.
Like together, but independently.
Totally.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So among other things, I would love to kind of go and
we could talk for 5 days about the things that I do.
100%.
I try to eat really well.
You do?
I treat my body in a way that I know will make it better later. I happen to be lucky that I know a thing or two about physical fitness and training.
You do.
And so,
you know a thing or two about 20-minute lunges.
I do that. Yeah. That's my meditation. So on the meditation, like, I struggle with sitting still. Like it's hard for me. It's hard for me to sit and breathe and be calm. I got a laundry list of things I have to do every day. And so like, if that stuff's not taken care of, then I can't sit. But I can go lunge for 20 minutes.
And you've experienced it. The whole theme here, you are open, you go out and you see, this is for me, this is not.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sitting quiet for 10 minutes isn't really for me, but lunging for 20 and being very intentional about like how I place my foot on the ground, or maybe listening to like some music that takes me out of the madness of my day and like puts me in my body is like incredible.
What else would you want to talk about that has aided in your journey to your highest self, to your healing, your mental, emotional, spiritual healing, that you would like to share?
I mean, there's so many things. I think, we could like talk about psychedelic drug use or like.
I would, if you wouldn't mind, I
like
would
using THC.
I would like to go in like the psilocybin route.
Yeah,
I shared with you earlier in the last like 8 months.
Yeah.
I have been using it in a very, very controlled environment.
Yeah.
Great people, good energy, good intention, trusted source, all these things. And dude, when I tell you I have had the most profound healing of my life, it's unreal. And I've done all the things, like you're just talking about, like therapy, couples counseling, personal counseling, journaling, meditating, all these things. And they all feed the machine. They're all good practices for me. But dude, this stuff.
I'll say, I think, like we talked about before, like the theme of like different strokes for different folks. There's different things that like knock stuff loose, or different things that like get you to that next level. Training, it could be switching up your coach. It could be like adjusting your diet or like something like that. Well, I think with healing or with emotional healing or trauma work or whatever it is, there's like different things that like just get you that little bit of an edge, right? And if you're in a place where psilocybin is kosher, then like the impact that it's had for me specifically, just in my ability to remove, and I don't know the right word, whether it's anxiety or frustration or fear, the way that it's been able to remove those feelings, those negative feelings around certain aspects of my life has just been absolutely profound. And then from a headspace that's not like riddled with those feelings, I'm able to like think through and decide or not decide on a thing that like I otherwise wouldn't be able to. And it's been incredibly profound. I think the addition of like THC into my life has been pretty incredible. I struggle with sleep a great deal.
Gotta get you off those energy drinks, man.
I drank one on the way. I drank one on the way here.
Come on, man. We talked about this.
I know it's but like I would never, and like this is the coach coming out of me. I would never, ever, ever tell you to do any sort of substance or supplement before getting your ducks in a row.
Oh, sure, I agree.
So like I'll liken this to training.
Yeah.
I get asked more times than I could even tell you, but like what subs do I take though? Or like is it the pre-workout, or like steroids though.
Which brand's the best creatine?
Tell me, is it monohydrate or like crealkaline or like what do I need to take? And I'm like, are you sleeping 8 hours? Are you eating a diet that's mostly whole food sources, plants and animals? Are you drinking, your body weight, or half your body weight in gallons of water, or ounces of water a day? Like, do you salt your food with a high quality salt source? And like, if the answer to any of those is no, then like no supplements or don't supplement your diet, don't supplement your life, like build a life. And so I think in the same way, like if you're not doing all of the other work, like taking an edible or like eating a mushroom, like yeah, it has its value, but it's just like a quick little thing.
And it's also going to be setting you up for, I don't want to say failure, but you're not prepared.
Yeah, I think there's a level of that too, but yeah, for sure. I mean, and I don't know how deep we want to go. This is like a
go all the way down
crazy,
if you want, man.
A crazy topic.
Like, what do you mean by that? Like, how far deep?
Oh, I don't know. I think that I'll just keep it to if you're not going to do all of the other work, if you're not going to set yourself up in all of the other ways to be successful on the back end of an experience, whether it's psychedelic or not, like if you don't have the structures or frameworks in place to be successful later, similar to a transition out of the Army, if you transition and you don't have a structure or framework or plan of action in place, then like you leave yourself open and vulnerable to like a bad experience.
You're open for attack.
Totally.
Guards down.
And so, yeah, I would urge everyone, and like it goes back, like there's so many like callbacks here, but I would urge everyone to like seek out help in a grounded, like centered way before exploring other avenues.
And it can just be that, honestly. Like I think back to my own personal journey. You think like asking for help has to look or sound or feel like some kind of way. You think you have to. I thought there had to be some level, some high level preparedness in order to get help. And no, it's literally just, I need help.
You also think too that we talk about, I mean, in Los Angeles too specifically, there's like this theme of imposter syndrome or like this credentials myth where you like, I know for me personally, it's like, oh my God, I have to get this like next certification, or I have to like prove myself in this arena before I can like transcend that job and like do another thing. Or like, oh my God, I'm new to this thing. I don't know anything. How the fuck? Why would anybody pay me their money for my services? I think something similar happens when you're like looking for someone to help you. It's like I have to find the right person with the right set of skills to be the person that renders aid in my specific situation.
Sure, yeah.
And it's not that deep, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like
you may be able to niche down later as you figure out and get more specific in what you're feeling.
It could start anywhere.
Yeah.
I got coffee with a guy I didn't even know.
It's me.
And that's that's like that's like asking for help in a small sense. Or like my younger sister is the best person I've ever met in my entire life, and us going to dinner when she first moved out here, it was right after she moved here in May of 2019. It was right at the tail end of me being just not well, it was like summer 2019. And we would go to dinner at Erewhon in Venice, and we would sit there. We wouldn't talk about anything that was remotely close to anything I was feeling, but like we would just be there, and she would sit there with me, and like I can think about those moments, and that was the help that I needed just then.
Yeah.
It was just enough of a stretch where it like pushed me to be a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more open, maybe smile a bit more, and have an experience with her. And then over time, it like slowly grew into like, oh my God, okay, now I'm feeling comfortable. I can like seek out a therapist. And Caleb was the one that like got me into therapy. And I like, it was just like finding these little tiny, similar to training, finding these little tiny stimuli that like pushed me to like this larger, more evolved, more capable, more durable version of myself.
Was this the experience that you shared very openly and publicly on your most recent adventure?
What's that?
Was this that letting, like, I think on air I saw correct me if I'm wrong, you talked about this experience about how she didn't even know it yet, but your sister saved your life.
Yeah, I did.
So what's it like opening up like that to someone that you're becoming intimate with, like opening yourself up more to, but also like in front of millions of people all over America and the world?
Yeah, so that experience, I talked about like, what's the thing that's going to knock it loose? I'll bring this back around.
Okay.
But,
no doubt, bro. No doubt.
I always have to say that because I'm going to go over here, but then I'll take it back over there.
Officers are always getting lost, even on the podcast, man.
Dude. I was okay at land nav.
Yo, May will never believe me, but I tell her all the time. I was like, yo, I got first time go every time I land nav. She was like, bullshit. You can't find, even on the GPS, you get lost. I'm like,
it's different.
I'm better with a compass and a map.
You can't train associate in LA.
Thank you. Thank you. I swear to God, if she hears me say train association one more time, she'll leave me.
But so we talked about, or I said that like for different people, there are certain things that like knock you into the next level of evolution or like into a new state of awareness. Like maybe it's psilocybin, maybe it's like some other thing. Maybe it's like finding a different therapist or like drinking an extra cup of water in your day. There's like a thing that you change that gets you into a new spot. Well, we talk about, you know me, personally, but 2020 was like an insane year for me, not necessarily mental health related, but professionally. Like quarantine hit, I started a couple new businesses, ended up having to move in with my friend because my apartment like had mold. There was all these things going all over the place. I was so busy and I was so fulfilled by the work that I was doing. I wasn't interested in seeking out a relationship with anyone. I had like tried to be like, oh, I'll like text this person, or I'll like maybe like go get a coffee with this person. But I like wasn't like I was like bullshitting everybody. I was like playing a stupid game. And it had been like, months and months and months, and the show reaches out and they're like, yo, we'd love you to come on the show. And I'd be like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be, I'm not like a reality.
They sought you out.
Yeah. I don't want to be a reality TV guy. I don't want to I didn't apply. Like they reached out to me, but,
spoiler alert, I submitted your application.
No, there you go. There it is. But, somebody who's way smarter than me was like, no, you should go on this. You should do it.
Somebody else saw an opportunity that you didn't.
Yeah. My friend was like, you should go on the show. I hadn't like dated, like I hadn't actively dated in like 2 years. And they're like, you're getting stuck. You're like stuck in your life. You're comfortable in the stuff that you're doing, even though it's hectic and crazy and you're all over the place all the time. Like you're like comfortable here. So like go do that thing, remove your life for a little bit and go explore that thing. And so I went and I did it. And, since it had been so long since I'd like actually felt a connection with somebody or actually like felt feelings just at all, I thought that it was appropriate to like share the depths of me. You have to understand, like in that experience, you only get so many opportunities to like show who you are. And I don't know, that's just the way that we got talking in one instance. I felt like I needed to just keep going, and it was like a struggle and challenging, and I like really hadn't divulged that part of myself to anyone, even the people that I'm closest with. But it was an incredible opportunity. I'm so grateful and thankful that I got to experience it, and I got to talk about things that are important to me. And also, it opened up so many new lines of communication with my family, my sister specifically.
Amazing, man.
Yeah. And again, the takeaway or the thing that I tried really hard to make sure I stated in that moment even was that like I was too afraid to show people that I was struggling, and I didn't think I could reach out for help. And the reasons are many, but like the help is there. Like there's nothing worth losing your life at your own hand. There's nothing worth that. So like seek out the help. Like for sure, seek out the help. And so I hope that that's like a takeaway from this, from the work that I do in the future, from that experience on the show. I hope people just understand that like you've got at least one guy or at least two guys who aren't going to like look down on you for doing what you need to do. And I mean, it's not an Army specific issue. It's a world,
it's a human experience.
Issue. Yeah. But
have you had any you don't have to say any names or anything, but have you had any any people reach out to you since, I think to your point earlier of like, once you see somebody doing something that you want in your life,
Yeah.
there's that resonance. And especially people in this scenario where, oh, like someone like Ben is talking about this stuff and he's talking about his mental health and talking about his feelings and all these things. Did that open up a resonance for other people? Like, what's been the feedback?
Well, yeah, I think there's like several layers to this, but like being on a program like that where so many people see it, and the topics of discussion are so emotional. People feel like they know you.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You don't know me. You saw 1%.
You saw about 36 minutes.
You saw 1% of the person that I am, and thank goodness it was like something that was like pretty okay. But like, you don't know me. I'm so thankful that you resonate with a piece of me and that you like felt compelled to reach out. I feel bad about it sometimes, but I made this like rule with myself. I like don't look at the DM. Like I don't look at the messages. I get a lot of them, as you would assume. I get like a lot of them. I try really hard to make my message consumable by everybody. And so like the things that I talk about are the things that like I might post on a social media post. Like although it's not written specifically for you, it is written specifically for you. And so if you're messaging me all the time, I'm sorry that I haven't like gotten back to you. But for my own mental health, I'm not able to be a customer service representative on my social media.
It's a powerful statement, man.
I can't. It like crushes me to say that I can't do it, and like it's taken a long time for me to like erect those boundaries. Attention is a weird thing for me if I can control the inputs. Like if I'm at a party with people that I know, or I'm like in a space where I understand that like I have control of how my narrative is perceived, I'll be the center of attention. I'm a Leo. I'll be in the middle. I have no shame. Like I'm the life of the party, and all eyes are on me. That's great.
And you also bring good tequila to the party.
I do.
Remember that?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fortaleza. But if I can't control the narrative, in this instance, I'm at the hands of like whoever is, writing the show or whatever it is. I struggle a great deal with eyes on me or attention on me, and like it's not. I'm working through this currently in therapy, but it's like I just I always have felt like if they're looking at me, I must have done something wrong.
Interesting.
And I haven't. Like I'm just being me. But like
you think that's some of the inner child triggers there?
I mean, there's 7 days of podcasting on this topic alone that we could do. But so it's been a struggle for me. Back to your question about people resonating with my story. I'm so incredibly grateful to share. I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity, and I'm so blessed that I get to have a small piece in someone's life. If anyone can find strength in my story, then like we did our job. Like I did my job. But that said, I hope that the message I've shared or what I've said through my experience on the show or in my actions in my daily life, like the takeaway is like there are people out there that can help you. And like in this moment, like DMing me about it probably isn't the best option. But like you said, in your life, like it doesn't need to be something insane. Like call your best friend, call your brother, call your sister, like talk to the guy at the coffee shop, like whatever it is.
And to the other side of it, I'll say like on the receiving end, one way that we can help our own mental health and for that of those we love and care about is to like be there more often.
Totally.
Like I can think of so many times where it's just like, oh no, I'll hit them back, or like, oh no, I'll reschedule or cancel or flake, whatever. Like you never know what somebody is going through.
No.
So many. I mean, we've talked about so many examples so far.
On the topic of digital minimalism, there's like two people on social media. There's the consumer and the creator. And like, although I seem to be very active on social media, I'm not consuming any of it.
Yeah.
I have everybody muted.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have all my notifications off.
I have no notifications on my phone. I have everybody muted. I only put things on social media. I'm not there to receive. I have far too many stimuli in my actual life, and I value this like this is all we've got.
Mm.
The shit in the past, like it happened. We can't change any piece of it. We can think about it and reflect on it maybe if it serves us. But like all that I've got is this right now. And so it's kind of weird that this is being recorded and someone will hear it later and be like, well, I've got it now. But like this kind of goes back into what I'm working on in my like mental health journey. But like currently.
Yeah, where are you now?
I said like a cocky thing earlier, I'm the most evolved I've ever been, which is the truth. There's ebbs and flows naturally to your progress. It's not always easy. It's not always challenging. But like recently I've been challenged in some ways that a younger, less evolved Ben would have crumbled. And I'm so proud of myself for the way that I've been able to handle the last couple months or the last couple days or whatever it is. I think that that's one of the nicest things that you can say to someone. This is kind of off topic, but to say I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And I feel like people don't do it because they're like, well, what is it? Like, why
who are you to be proud of me?
Why do you care that
Yeah.
I'm proud of you?
Yeah.
But like on a human to human level, not like a rank structure or positional thing. My favorite thing to say is I'm proud of you. And it's
I like that.
And even more, I say it to myself. I do this journaling thing every morning.
Even more important.
Yeah. I do this journaling thing every morning where I talk about inner child healing, but I write a letter to my younger self and we go through a series of like topics, but basically it culminates every day where I write like, look, man, like, and I have this is going to sound crazy, but I have a photo of like younger Ben and he's on the desk.
Wow.
I write this letter to him. I talk through how I'm feeling in the moment.
That's probably got to make it easier, no? Like,
it's great.
It's like a physical thing.
It's great. And this is all due to Sarah Baldwin. She's the best.
Does she take TRICARE by chance?
I don't think so. No.
Damn.
Definitely not.
I'm intrigued.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But so I write him this letter, and at the end, it basically culminates with, like, hey man, like I get it. You're 7. Like you do 7-year-old shit, and I'll handle the adult stuff. Like you're good, I'm good, and no matter what happens, like we'll be good together. In like not those same words, but in that general theme. And then I have a mantra for this year where it says, you know, whatever is for you, and this you is like
the collective.
The collective. Okay. Whatever's for you will find you. Like I'm sure of that. But this says whatever is for you will find you. Whatever is for me, I'm ready to receive. And I have another like a space, and then I go down and I write to a deeper connection to self and an ever-growing opportunity to give love. And then I just like start my day. Because like my mission is to connect to myself more wholly and more fully, and then also have no obstacle in giving love. Because I think far too often we think about how can someone love me, or how can like, what can I gain from this thing? And maybe it's like experiences of the conditional love in the past, or like being in relationships where I felt like I was only giving. And
I'm sure so many people can relate to that.
But like that's me being selfish. That's me being selfish. Like, oh my God, I don't feel like they're reciprocating. Like, oh, why aren't they doing that for me? That's like really uncomfortable and scary and sad, and like I should find someone better. But like I've kind of tried to reframe this, or I've reframed this in my mind where like if I show up and I give of myself fully and I love unconditionally, then it kind of goes back to that collective you statement. Like whatever is for me will find me.
What else could there be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there is no other option. And like there's again so many fucking things. There's so many things we could talk about. But another thing I'm really trying to work through is my like attachment to things.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, so I'm generally anxious in my attachment, not only in romantic relationships, but in like platonic friendships, or even like to material possessions. Like I
really,
yeah, like not that I like material things, but like I like to keep. I like to like if you're my friend, I like want like I need you to be close. I need to have these relationships, and it's changing over time. But I think
my response to that was just like I wouldn't have thought that of you.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I do a nice job of like putting on this is one area in my life where I feel like, like I generally have like a people pleasing nature. A younger Ben had a people pleasing nature. And so even though I might be struggling inside, like specifically in romantic relationships,
Okay.
I was always the anxious one. I'm always the one, I need you to reassure me. I need you to tell me that you still like me, because like you haven't told me that you like me in 4 days, and like I need to know.
So are my behaviors in alignment with
Right.
what you need? Yeah.
Or I like do a thing, if you're not familiar with attachment styles, there's a book called Attached. I can't remember the author's name right now, but there's anxious, there's avoidant, and there's secure. The avoidant doesn't really want closeness. The anxious wants to be reaffirmed always that they're like doing the right thing, or that there is closeness in the relationship.
Okay.
And the secure person like couldn't care because they could not care less because they're secure and they don't need your validation and they're secure in themselves. And there's different combinations of these three patterns that are like good and others that are less good.
Sure. Yeah.
What often happens is someone that really needs reassurance finds somebody who won't give any, and they go and that they do this weird tango for their relationship, and it either ends or they end up miserable later on.
Yeah.
And have always been the person who's like so insecure and so unsure of myself that I like need that reaffirmation from my partner. And I was always seeking out people who wouldn't give me that thing. And so now, having taken a longer break from relationships, I noticed that those things, from romantic relationships, I noticed that those things kind of start to come up in my platonic relationships. Like, oh my God.
Because common denominator
It's
is
me.
you.
It's me. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm feeling the same way, even though like I'm not sleeping with this person. It's like my friend, like, or like it's my roommate, and like I'm feeling a certain way. And through the last 2 years of therapy, I've started to like uncover the reasons why, like the relationships to your parents, the relationships to your earliest caregivers, your earliest
I'm so
friends.
happy for you, man. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so like now I sit here, I'm 30, feel like I'm like a baby deer just like starting out on my journey, but like I've started to understand that like I was the common denominator, and the only person that I can fix or change or develop is me.
How like simultaneously terrifying and empowering is that?
I mean, it's from my perspective, and like people will fight me on this every day, it's the most important thing. It is the only thing that matters. Similar to like there is no thing that is more important than you staying on this earth. There is no thing more important than, once you're here on this earth permanently, developing yourself or understanding that it's you, honey. Like it's you.
Was it I think it's an Albert Einstein quote. The two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you figure out why.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like I'm just some dude. I'm not anything. I'm just some guy that's trying to figure it out. But like I said before, like if I can share my experience.
Yeah.
I coach fitness and nutrition professionally. That's like the thing that I do.
Which you do a great job, by the way.
Thanks,
I've run through your programs. I've trained at Deuce.
I care about it a lot.
It's amazing, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Thanks.
I mean, my legs don't when I'm lunging for 20 minutes, but
yeah, I just I forgot what I was gonna say about that, but what were we
figure out the
talking
most important day you're alive, like why you're here.
And
nothing is more important than you being here.
Yeah, I had a really cool thing to say about nutrition specifically, but I'll come back to it.
We'll save it for the follow-up.
This is my brain. It's your brain on drugs, kid. No, but yeah, like if I'm able to just share my experience and I'm able to just show you that like no matter what you look like or no matter how you seem to like be perceived, like we're all just doing the best that we can. We're all just trying to make it out of this thing.
Yeah.
Alive. And I for so long was afraid of what other people would think. And like I said, I do care what other people think, but I care because I know that like through my purest expression, I'm able to positively impact so many more people.
Love it, man.
Yeah. I think I got one last thing. I don't know how much time we got. I got one last thing.
We're on your time.
I had a boss very early on in my Army career, and he said to me, he goes, there's intention and there's impact, and only one of them matter. And then he would like walk out of the room. And and I know the answer.
Wow.
But like at the beginning when I was young and dumb and couldn't think about anyone other than myself, I'd be like, oh, intention is all that matters. If my intentions are pure, then it shouldn't matter how you feel at the end of our interaction or at the end of like whatever. No, 22-year-old Ben, intention doesn't matter if the impact is less than optimal or the impact hurts somebody. And so you got to look at yourself too.
Perception is reality.
That's right, but you got to look at yourself too, and it's like, okay, how are the things that I'm doing impacting me? How are the things that I'm doing impacting the people that I love most? How are the things that I'm doing impacting my ability to like live the life that I want to live? And then from there, it's just execution. But that's like a whole nother podcast. That's like a whole army thing.
You know, man, that whole last little bit right there.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that today.
Good.
Yeah. You got me.
Good.
Yeah, I needed to hear that, man.
Good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just some random dude that got dumped on a TV dating show twice.
Twice. That's right. Oh, shit.
Look, there's a story in there too. There's a story in that. There's a story there as well. Like, if you blow it, if you blow it and you like want to fix it, you can try.
Yeah.
I didn't tell a person that I had feelings for how I felt about them, and then I went back and tried. And you know what? It's like, hey, it went the way that it went, but at least I tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like people will say, oh, this and oh, that. Like people will make their
People will
assumptions.
always say.
But you know what? I had my experience, and it was enough for me.
You're living your life, not anybody else.
That's right.
Well, dude, it's been great having you back on.
Thanks.
Technically, like 2 summers ago, we did like a really specific like fitness and nutrition Q&A kind of thing. I'll make sure to link that down for everybody that want to go back and hear like fitness Ben.
Yeah. Or you can like reach out to me about fitness stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Training out at bodybuilding club.
Yeah. So
Deuce Gym. Like the programming is great.
My business is called Bodybuilding Club. We're at Your Bodybuilding Club on Instagram. That's the easiest way to find us. But we are a internet-based fitness and nutrition company. We have an apparel thing too. That's like
I saw that.
Probably going to take over the world at some point.
That's good, man. I got to get some threads. I got to support the cause.
I got you.
Yeah.
And then I'm also a coach for a family of gyms here in the Southern California area or the greater Los Angeles area, but called Deuce Gym, DEUCE GYM. We do like functional fitness type training outdoors in Venice, right down the street from my house.
One of my favorite parts about anytime I've trained with you guys is, first of all, in the last year, just so grateful to be around weights. But beyond that, just like the community.
It's a vibe.
It's amazing, dude. I met some new homies from meeting up with you guys.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They're very different. Bodybuilding Club is so we're like LGBTQ plus.
La-di-da-di, everybody.
We are, if you are breathing, we got a spot for you. Like the most inclusive, like inclusivity and unconditional love is our message.
100%.
And it's the same in Venice. It's a totally different experience. It's outdoor. It's like dirty and grimy and like you're lifting heavy stuff. But it's like they're two different vibes. They're equally as wonderful. And I'm at either one of those places. One is in Hollywood and the other one is in Venice. I'm at either one of those places with all of my time. So.
I swear sometimes I've seen you at both at the same time. I don't know how, like you're doing some time travel shit, man. But I'm like, how the hell is he doing all this shit?
I drive fast on the 10. I drive really fast on the 10.
Jesus, man. Well, dude, first and foremost, or I guess I should say kind of lastly, like, I'm glad you're here, man.
Last and last.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm glad that we're here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, I'm glad that you reached out. Glad that I reached out. I'm glad we had that coffee, man. I'm glad we've had this incredible last couple of years together.
Fuck yeah.
Drive on for sure.
Onward.
But that's the last question. Ever forward, like I think I've told you, you maybe might appreciate a little bit more. That originated, the family mantra, the message, but actually originated from my dad's first unit, the 116th Infantry Regiment.
Okay.
That was their unit insignia, ever forward. So like anytime I have a military guest on, a veteran, like I kind of feel it's like 2 scoops of hua. It's a little bit extra, meaning. So with that in mind, man, I'm pretty sure I asked you that question like 2 years ago,
And
but
I have no idea what I answered.
I don't even remember. But nobody who's a repeat guest doesn't remember.
It was probably like, I want to be able to pay my rent. I'm really excited to pay my
It's a very
rent
important
this
reason.
week.
It's a very important reason. But with all the growth that you've gone through this last year, man, and the impact and intention and all the things that you've been going through, those 2 words, that what does that mean to you? How do you live a life ever forward?
God, I could say so many things. I think I'm gonna do
You can say all the things.
I'm gonna make a. Okay, so ever forward to me. I think about what comes into mind immediately is we have a saying at one of the gyms. We say "keep going," and it's like very similar. They're like in the same family there, but no matter what the journey looks like, no matter how the path unfolds, up, down, sideways, backwards, forwards, whatever it is, like you owe it to yourself to keep going. There's always another option. There's always another path. There's always an answer. And we kind of hit it earlier, but it's like the way that stuff works out is how it's supposed to work out. And if you don't learn something from the experience, then I can't help you. But I think to live a life ever forward is to understand that it's like, it's this journey, this convoluted, twisting, turning, sometimes stopping for a bit, journey that like makes this whole thing worth experiencing. And so, I mean, I'm living a life ever forward, and I know you are as well. But like talking about the only moment that we've got is right now. Like enjoy the shit. Like enjoy. I think what is Nick Bear.
Yeah.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck, baby.
That's the most army I'll get for the rest of the year. But like chin down, eyes forward, like push.
Drive on.
Yeah.
Drive on, man.
Because like you don't have any other option. I tried to do the other
What's the
thing.
alternative? Yeah.
Well, I tried.
Yeah.
But like fucking push. Just go. I mean, there's no other option, and if anything else, you'll inspire somebody else to do an incredible thing.
So true.
And so like
so true.
I think far too often people get stuck and realize, oh my God, like I can't change the world. Like Ben Smith, I can't change the world, but you know what I can do? Like I can initiate the movement of other people, and in tandem together, we talked about synergy with you and May. In tandem, we can change the world. And so like,
or you can change somebody else's world.
Fuck yeah, you can. And so I think that's living a life ever forward.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm so glad you're back.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I love everything you're doing. Can't wait to swag out in some bodybuilding club apparel.
I got a new launch in the
cool.
summer. We're like literally out of clothes.
No shit, damn.
I did a
good problem to have.
I did a Valentine. Well, we did a stupid thing. Homer and I don't know how to run a business because I did a stupid thing and we only got enough clothes.
The inventory, man, the dilemma.
We did a sale on Valentine's Day and then ran out of clothes. And so now we're like in the process of like jumping through our assholes to get more.
We sell clothes, we just don't have any.
We sell clothes. They're really sick. They're like the best material ever. We just are waiting.
Don't have any. Yeah.
But soon.
Amazing, man. Well, dude, good luck on all your new endeavors. I know you're going to keep crushing it. Like the LA community loves you. The fitness community loves you. Now you got people all over the world that love you. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, I still don't understand why, but yeah.